Good afternoon, adventurers. Guess what? It's Friday. That's right. And that means it's time for John's Dungeon Corner here at the Collective in Altamont Springs, Florida, where gaming is a way of life. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Lots of good stuff has been going on. Hopefully everybody had a wonderful and safe 4th of July. We did. We just blew some stuff up and put on a fireworks show. Ooh, had some fun. Yes. Joy and I got together. We had some folks over and just all kinds of stuff just going up in the air and boom, 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 and lots of noise and then some cleanup afterwards. And there were fireworks going off because where we live, we got the springs on one side shooting, the city shooting stuff off. Oh man, it was like an all-night parade. It was so neat. The fireworks display. Hey Donna, hey Sarah, happy Friday. Welcome to the show, both of you. Look at this. Look at Sarah. You've got to text Antonio and tell him he has to come on the show. If nothing else, just to sit there and see this Mama Jamma. Hey, happy Friday, Miche from DC. Look at this. Wow, everybody's coming in. Hey, you guys, we're going to talk about this, but look at this. Look at this mimic. This is like the bomb diggity right here, okay? Antonio's got to see this. This is just crazy. I was talking about the 4th of July and how wonderful it was and everything we blew up. And it was just loud and crazy and really bright. We lit up the sky. It was so wonderful. Donna was there. Donna came over and watched some of that stuff blow up. In fact, shout out to Harvey. He lit off his first fireworks under Mom's supervision and Antonio's supervision, which is very cool. And that was a lot of fun. So, but anyway, oh man, got some cool stuff to talk about that I think will kind of help the D&D game out a little bit. You know what? I talk about all these new things, but I'm going to tell you what. This is what I really want to talk about. The Mimic has come in. Look at this. In the chest form. I mean, he's just awesome. He looks like he ate a blue and purple fruit roll-up. How'd you know? I was looking. Happy 4th, my love. Look at that. My wife is back finally from Innsbruck out in Austria. She made it back. Look at this guy. Look at this. Is that cool? It's like, ta-da, hey, how you doing? No. Look at this. It's so cool. Look at that. He's a chest, and he just, wow, right? Look at that guy. I mean, you're right, Mitch. He ate a purple and blue fruit roll-up. That's what happens. But look at that. I mean, awesome. The Collective is always on top of all the cool stuff. So it looks amazing. Really good. I was like, wow. It was just Brendan left it sitting out here on the studio desk. And I was like, look at this craziness. Hey, brother, up in New York, Willie, how you doing? Boy, I'm glad everybody's on because the Mimic is just, I mean, I can't talk enough about him. I love mimics. You know, everybody, I love mimics. If you saw it in the Dungeons and Dragons movie, well, here's a live representation of one. You can take it home and just let it hang out. Hey, so everybody on the show, check this out. So we're going to talk about, I was talking with Christina and Sarah today about a couple things about something that happened at the game, and I think it's important, role play. But we're going to get to that second. First, I want to talk about something someone did ask me about as far as to do with the module. I'm going to touch on it a little bit. So I brought out, you know, I love the starter sets. Everybody knows I do. So this is the Lost Mine of Fendelver storybook. This is what the game master uses to tell the story and run the module, the campaign. This is the one that comes, the Dragon of Ice Spire Peak. Okay, this is the other module. It comes in the essentials. All right. So I want to go over them because then I'm going to show you a couple things in here because this is what I want to explain. All right. So when we sit there, I've always said make sure you read the whole module over one time. You don't have to memorize anything because the information is here. Really, this is about acquainting yourself with what's in here because there's maps, there's NPCs. It talks about you got to kind of differentiate what you're going to tell the players, what only you know, how they discover it, that kind of thing, right? Kind of like the mechanics behind this. So there's always an introduction. Oh, of course, my favorite map, but we'll put that over here for now. The map's not important right now. So there's an introduction. It talks about running the adventure, the dungeon master, and what you're going to be doing. Okay, kind of goes over some of the ability checks, this, that, the other, the DC checks. Okay, so this is something I want to explain, and I'm going to show it to you right here. Okay, so in here, if you look right here, you've got the DC checks. A DC of 10 is easy, and I'm not going to go into the explanation. I just want you to see where medium is a 15. A hard DC is a 20. Now, yeah, there we go. See, there we go. All right, so what those are difficulty. These are like your difficulty target numbers, okay? So if something's easy, if you think, oh, well, it's easy to find or easy to get, you roll a D10. Is that your twin on the table? I bet he likes goblins too. Welcome to the show, Jason. Yes, he does like goblins. We were talking about that right before the show started. Fancy you should bring that up. Welcome to the show, brother. Welcome to the show. So that's how you set your difficulty modifiers. And it's for everything. They're trying to climb up a rope. They're trying to climb over a wall, jump over a pit, try to find something. So this is where the skills come in. So if you said, let's say it's a moderate difficulty of finding a trap, you would say, okay, so the DC is 15. You can tell the player, not tell them. It's up to you. It's irrelevant, really. You can keep it all hidden and quiet and really not. It kind of adds to attention. But with beginning players, I'll tell them usually because I want them to understand what it is they're going for. Like one of my favorite lines, which I'm going to stop using at my table, is all you need is a 12. 12 just seems to be a bad number. If I say 13, no problem. But if I say 12, forget about it. You'll see ones and twos rolling around all the time. So now, unlike, and let me explain something too when we're looking for modifiers, the numbers, or skill checks and all that. A 1 is not an automatic failure, and a 20 is not an automatic success. Okay? A 20 is a fabulous roll, though. I mean, you've pretty well set yourself up for success. And even if it was a little higher, you're always glean. I always allow them to glean some kind of information about what's going on and what it might take. Because, I mean, it doesn't get any better than a 20, and those are rare. So, that there's that. And then there's 1 doesn't necessarily mean you're going to miss it, but you might get misinformation. Now, and that's something that the two extremes, right? 1 and 20. You can give some information, even though some things are difficult and not supposed to ever be found out at that point yet, right? Okay, because they're just not ready for it. What's behind that closed door will probably kill them, that kind of thing. But you allow them, and you might glean some information. This is a very complex magical lock. It's going to take more skill and possibly even magical ability to get past this door, or a combination of both. You give them that on that 20. And then on the 1, you might tell them, yeah, this door is impregnable. It's impossible to open. There you go. So those are the two extremes. Always reward the 20, and you can play around with the 1. You can just tell them, no, unfortunately, you can't comprehend how to do it. You might tell them something, hey, you think it's just impossible to open. All right, so that's how you play with those numbers. But a 20 is never an automatic success, although it is very likely to be a success. And a 1 is not a failure because there's a lot of modifiers that will go into as the characters advance in level, their stats go up. They might find items that help with certain abilities. Okay, so remember that. All right. So this is how you set the DCs. Oh, let me get back up here. I sat back down. It talks about the magic items. It gives you a background of what's going to happen in the game, and then kind of like a general overview. Okay. And I'm going through this because I want everybody to understand how important this actually is. A lot of people kind of overlook it. And here we go. Like this is a 3-part. This is a 4-part module. So it has 4 chapters. It kind of gives you an overview of how one flows into the other. Okay. Gives you a map again. Of course, I have the big map, which is real nice. It gives you an adventure hook. And here's something neat. It gives you a little history about the area that you're in. Okay. The world of the Forgotten Realms is one such setting, and it's where this story and this adventure takes place. So it talks a little bit about the Forgotten Realms and the Sword Coast, which is where this happens. Now here, And I'm not going to give anything away as far as, because a lot of people have played this and people who aren't. But so there's these boxes, okay? And there's titles, part 1, Goblin Arrows, and so on and so forth. Well, it kind of tells you this is everything that's not in this box is for the DM, okay? Like it'll say, encourage the players to introduce their characters to each other if they haven't done so already. This is just little hints for you as a dungeon master to kind of use to get the characters to know each other. And how you do it, okay, here's the intro that they use, and I'm just going to read it right out of here real quick, okay? In the city of Neverwinter, a dwarf named Gundren Rockseeker asked you to bring a wagon load of provisions to the rough and tumble settlement of Fendalen, a couple of days' travel southeast of the city. Gundren was clearly excited and more than a little secretive about his reasons for the trip, saying only that he and his brothers had found something big and that he'd pay you 10 gold pieces each for escorting his supplies safely to Barthen's Provisions, a trading post in Fendalen. He then set out ahead of you on horse, along with a warrior escort named Sildar Hallwinter, claiming he needed to arrive early to take care of business. You spent the last few days following the high road south from Neverwinter, and you've just recently veered east along the Triboard Trail. You've encountered no trouble so far, but this territory can be dangerous. Bandits and outlaws have been known to lurk along the trail. So that's kind of the intro to the adventure itself, right? So that's what you read to the players. All these other things kind of describe what's going on, like driving the wagon. You know, it talks about, okay, how do you drive a wagon? If there's any roles that need to be done. Ask the players to think about, and then there's suggestions, like I said, encourage them to role play among each other and introduce themselves. Ask the players to think about how their characters came to know their dwarf patron. So these are all things that you can work out, like in sections 0, but it's in here, and it goes on and on in the book. Every section, like let's go, I'll just pick a spot back here. Okay, so here we go. Blighted Farmhouse. This ruin looks as if it might once have been a farmhouse. It is now half swallowed by a dense thicket, with trees growing up through its ruined foundations. The lane continues south a short distance, past the ruin, before ending in an overgrown field. These are the things that you describe to the players that they see. And I'm going to leave it at that, because now I'm going to get into the second part. And the Dragon of Icespire Peak is the same way. It has, in this one, the boxes are in a darkened, like light greenish kind of font background to kind of separate everything. You see it goes on throughout you see all the different green parts in there and maps and things. Like I said, everything that you need is in here. Monsters are in the back. And remember, the monsters that they usually talk about are all in the back of the book. They're really good about this with these modules, okay? It explains what the creature stat blocks are. You know, so their size, their type, their hit points, their speed, armor class, their skills, traits, actions, all that. And then it goes through and shows you, it has pictures of them, and then it describes their blocks, like the Will-O-Wisp, the Sturge, the Veteran. So you have all the information there. That is for you as a game master, dungeon master, to use for your benefit, so that you understand what the monsters are. Everything you need is self-contained in there, okay? Can you use the monster manual to help you out? Yes. All right. But as a beginning DM, everything is in these books. And there's actually another part that helps you, that really describes the adventure a little bit more and kind of talks about the rules. And I've shown you that. But I wanted to talk about this specifically because this is what I was asked about. Okay. Now, going back to that part about the DM encouraging the players to get to introduce themselves as their characters and get to know each other a little bit better before setting off. I've talked about where I like to start my games. Always at a tavern, sometimes every once in a while on the Merchant Road, along that way, right? Back to the tavern. All right, so some of the players are sitting down, and someone walks in, another party member walks in, brand new. Let's say I'm gonna role play this character, and role playing. Let's talk about role playing, because that's what we're about to do. Okay, it's going to be kind of one-sided because I'm just going to kind of portray the character that walked in. Okay, and so there's not going to be an interaction of role playing. Although technically yes, but we'll talk about that in a second. Let's talk about role playing. So in the Dungeon Master's Guide, Dungeon Masters, there's a little bit of an explanation. I'm not going to go through the whole thing once again, but on pages 245 and 246, it talks about role playing, being the NPC. Okay, imagine how a character or monster you bring to life would react towards the characters. Consider what it cares about. Does it have any ideals, flaws, or bonds? And I'll leave it at that. It kind of talks about that. Using your voice, intonation, enunciation, inflection, so on and so forth. I mean, if you want some examples of that, I'll tell you what. I try to do it, but I'm limited. There are, and I always refer to him. Matt Mercer is amazing with his Critical Role. He's on YouTube. You can see him. He is a voice actor. The players who run the players who run the characters in his game are also all voice actors. They're amazing. Watch what they do. Listen to how Matt Mercer uses enunciation, intonation, and the tone of his voice, right, to kind of portray all these different characters. And sometimes he even does the facial features. I think that adds a lot to it too. So for some really, really good hints, I defer to him because he does a great job. It's what he does professionally, and actually he's really, really good at it. So, but that'll kind of help you. Use it. Oh, and then the next part, of course, is using your face and arms. Use your facial expressions to help show a character's emotions. Scowl, smile, grin, snarl, pout, cross your eyes. Do whatever it takes to make the character or monster memorable to the players. You'll see him do a lot of that. He probably wrote that section in there. I'm not sure, maybe. And then it talks about engaging, appeal to player preferences, target specific characters. So that's right here in the Dungeon Master's Guide. It's 2 pages, 245 and 246. Okay, that's kind of like from the Dungeon Master side of it, the Game Master side. Now but for players, okay, there's the Player's Handbook, and I show you this so you can sit there and see the information is here. You just have to look for it. All I did was go to the index and look at role playing, and it was there. In this book, it's on page 185 and 186. So this talks about role playing. Role playing is literally the act of playing out a role. And we've talked about this, but I just want to kind of throw this out to you because this is kind of like the foundation. Once you kind of get an idea about reading it, then you can kind of have an idea and you see it online. There's a lot of people that do it. It's all various. It's different, different levels, you know. And like I said, if you really want to see some amazing role playing, the Critical Role folks, and there's other groups out there. I just know that they're you say Critical Role, Matt Mercer, and everybody knows exactly what I'm talking about because they voiced their characters on the TV series, on the series. So anyway, all right. Descriptive approach to role playing. Okay, and this is what we're gonna do. This is the for instance that they use in here. So Tordek spits on the. For instance, Chris plays Tordek the dwarf. Tordek has a quick temper and blames the elves of the Cloakwood for his family's misfortune. At a tavern, an obnoxious elf minstrel sits at Tordek's table and tries to strike up a conversation with the dwarf. So you can only imagine how that's going to go, right? But so it's in there 185, 186, 265, 266. Okay. Now let's talk about it from a perspective of I'm a player and I'm coming to session 0 and I arrive. I'm going to play let me think. What shall I play? Any ideas? What should I play? Ideas? Suggestion? Anybody out there? Out there. Any suggestions as to what character I should play? No? All right. Okay. So here we go. So we're going to go with, I don't know. Let's go with something. Rita said Wood Elf Druid. Ha, ha, ha. A Wood Elf Druid. A gnome bard. Okay. A Wood Elf Druid, a gnome bard. Anybody else? This is interesting. A Wood Elf Druid and a gnome bard. Okay, you know what? I'll do a little piece. I'll try and do a little piece of both of them. No more suggestions. Suggestions are closed. All right, so let's go with the Wood Elf Druid first, all right? So when I arrive, no one knows that I'm a Wood Elf Druid, first of all, okay? So when a game master, this is kind of what led me to this subject. When a game master says, okay, 2 people join the party, they don't know who anybody is, what is it that they see? while observing the party, what is it that I'm seeing? All right. So my wood elf bard walks in, a half-orc barbarian, a Leonin Mary, you guys, a Leonin monk, a thief. Well, okay, time out. That's it. We're done. You guys are killing me. Let's start with the wood elf druid. I'll kind of describe each one and then kind of go through it from there. All right. So my wood elf druid walks in, looks around. My character isn't really used to being around a lot of people, and the tavern's always busy in that. But my master sat there and said that my mentor said I had to come here to this tavern in this town and meet with a group of people who are going to help to clear out a part of the woods that's been infested by orcs. So I have no choice as a representative of the Emerald Glade. I have to come here and represent, right? All right. So I arrive. The first thing the game master is going to say to me is, describe your character. I go, all right. He's about 6 foot tall with a long auburn hair. His hair kind of falls off to the sides of and you can see his pointy ears coming out from the sides. He has a band, a leather band that goes around interwoven with an amethyst in the middle of it. His eyes are a greenish gray color. He has the nice elven cheekbones, and he has a dark tannish, almost brownish, not quite like a dark leather type skin, very smooth. His hands, of course, are very well manicured and cleaned. He is wearing green and brown robes with a flowing cape. On one side, green, like an emerald green with a light tan color on the inside. He has a staff adorned with leaves and branches almost wrapped around, entwined. And in it, you see a gorgeous raw amethyst. He wears leather bracers, light leather armor, and he seems to be carrying all the accoutrements of an adventurer. He has pouches and he has a satchel and that, and he looks like he's looking around, looking at he's looking for someone. And he spots a group over in the corner, and he starts walking over, sits down, and says, "Good day to you all. I am. What's my name? Ooh, a druid name. What's a good name for my dwarf? Now I would normally have this for my elf. Let me see. Allian Greenmeadow. That's a very Druidish name. Allian Greenmeadow. Yes, that is me. He says that almost like he's telling himself, but telling you at the same time, like he's reminding himself of his name. It's a very interesting, and it may be that this guy's a little forgetful, and that's what he does. He sits there, he says things out loud to remind himself, including his name. And that's the way you can play that character, right? So there goes the druid. All right. So let's see. Now I'm Gnome Bard. Oh, okay. Here we go, Gnome Bard. So now we got to change up. So this character now walks in, and he's looking, he has a lute that's just a little bit longer than he is. It just doesn't look right. But hey, there he is. He's wearing bright colors. He has a troubadour shirt. If you don't know what those are, it's the real nice, pretty white shirts. It could be any color, but he's wearing a white one, and it's very puffy, and it has all kinds of little colors on it. He has ribbons hanging down, and he has a very nice bluish sky blue vest with silver embroidery on it, and he has a little beret, a blue beret. I forgot my name too. I feel his pain. Loot longer than he is. Yes, loot. Lute. Loot. Loot. I'm describing my character. All right. And he has black leather gloves on that flare out, almost like the cavalier gloves. And he has bright purple pantaloons, and his boots are at calf high and black with bells hanging off of them. And he comes in and he looks around and he says, "Good day to you all. I have arrived. Let us play a song." And he starts playing a melody right away, some kind of traveling song. And he is just playing, and he's just floating around, just playing from table to table. And with a flourish, he finishes and throws his lute back and looks around and says, "Now where is that fine group of folks that I am supposed to be meeting?" And there he is. And that's how he introduces himself. All right, let's see. Who do we got next? The gnome should be named Nomio. Exactly. So I guess he's already introduced himself. But when he comes up to the table, since we'll go with the whole Nomio, he says, "Greetings, my friends. I am Nomio the Bard, and I have a story larger than life." So there he is. Lute. Yes, a lute. All right, who do we got next? Let's see. Oh, a Leonin monk. Wow. Okay, so see, but you get what I'm saying. None of these characters has come up and said. The first character, I'm kind of going to go back because this is what's important. The first character did not come in and say, "Hi, I am the wood elf druid known as. I look like." This is your introduction. So there's that. And the gnome came in totally different. Hell, he didn't even get it. He just kind of take over the whole place. You know? Okay, Willie said it deep, but wait a minute. I think next was a Leonin to loot a loot or not to loot a loot. Ha ha. Okay, so now let's talk about the Leonin monk, because that's cool. Now, the monk, I'm going to go with the cool traditional. He is going to be a monk of the, what is it? And I can't remember the sect because there's different ones. But this guy, he's going to come in. This is a Leonin, proud, and obviously when you look at him, you know he is a Leonin because only Leonins look like Leonins, right? You cannot mistake him for a half elf. You cannot mistake him for an elf like some people do. He is a Leonin, proud and tall, standing tall, and he has this feel about an aura about him. He wears the monk's cloak, but they're flowing and in color. And there's a sect that does that. And when he walks in, he flows. He almost glides when he walks, as if every step he takes is landing on air. And he has this majestic, regal look about him in his eyes that are almost like a golden brown. And his mane flows out from like a darker brown to a golden brown. And he has a white. He's Dalai Lion. I'm never going to sit there and finish these explanations. All right. His main. Anyway, okay. Right. So he has the flowing robes, and you see a staff in his hand. But it's not a wizard staff. This looks like it was carved from an oak and then polished and just almost perfectly rounded. This, you can tell, is definitely a fighting staff. As you can see that it has a few nicks here and there. He looks around, and like I said, he walks as it's almost flowing, almost like in a melodic dance, as if he's dancing with purpose. And he comes and he looks at your group, and he bows, and he says, "I am Dalai Lion. It is a pleasure to meet your acquaintance. I hope that I may be of service in our future endeavors." And he takes a seat. See, so now that guy's a little different, right? Now, and that's kind of like the way I would describe my monk. Okay, so now let's go to who's next. And these are really quick explanations, okay? But notice that once again, it's a physical thing. It's a trait thing. It has nothing to do. Is he a monk? Obviously. But I didn't tell you he was a monk now, right? Okay, so we got the druid, we got the gnome, we got the monk. The half-orc barbarian. Well, the half-orc barbarian is always fun, because these guys you can be gruff with, and you can walk in, and okay, so you can go one way or the other. You can be the real barbarian type that's just kind of, or you can just kind of be almost like what they call the more civilized barbarian. But we're going to go with the fur. Then Thark the half-orc. Okay, so the door slams open, and in it, and it just slams open. Somebody just threw it open, and in walks the biggest, most muscled half orc. You can tell he's a half orc because an orc who is this big would probably wouldn't fit through the door. But he just kind of walks through and looks with his hand, one arm holding a battle axe over his shoulder, the other one on his hip, and he looks around, and you can tell that he's cloaked in like leathers and just probably the skin of animals is what it's more look like. But we'll call them leathers, because we don't want the animal people being mad at us. No animals were hurt in the making of this armor. No, it's not even armor. He's just wearing leathers. What do they call that? Oh my gosh. It covers the back like the Romans used to wear, and a lot of the loincloth. He wears a leather loincloth. Very well done, though. A very well-made loincloth. Gorgeous battle axe across his shoulder. And he just strides in like he owns the place, thumps his chest and says, I am Thark the Heartfork. I have come to help those who need help. Ha! 3 L's! And he saunters over and just plops down without any further ado. So see, that says it all right there. Just in the way, and that guy's going to be a trip when he's running around with the party because try to keep him quiet, right? So let's see. What do we got? Did I forget somebody? He's no Grom. No, Jason, he is no Grom. Okay, so, and the Rogue. Okay, well, that's one of my favorite classes because that guy. See, here's the funny thing about the Rogue. The party's been sitting there, and they're expecting the last member of their group to show up. And so they're waiting in the back, and they're sitting where they were told to sit at the round table in the back corner. It's kind of dark back here, but, this is where the innkeeper said to sit and wait. And the party's been there for a little bit. Everybody's kind of introduced themselves and that. And then all of a sudden it says, well, I guess it's my turn. And all of a sudden everybody just turns. And in the dark, in the one part of the shadows, there's a figure there. Now, how long has that damn person been sitting there? Nobody really knows. But he says, well, it's good of you to join me. And yes, although I am not your patron, our patron has entrusted me to deliver the directions as to what we are to do. This guy is obviously an elf of some type. Can't really tell because he's back behind the hood. Lord, to where all you can see is basically his small features. They do look elven, but they're in the shadows. Behind the cloak, you can see little bumps here and there. And of course, as his cloak parts, you can tell that, yes, he is definitely an adventurer. And he looks like he's prepared for just about any type of situation. All kinds of pouches, a bandolier of daggers, a bandolier of something, pouches, satchel, twin daggers sit on his belt. His hands are gloved, everything in dark colors, black, blues, purple, all different dark hues. And he speaks softly, almost melodic, like a little melody. He says, so, are you ready to listen? Anyway, and there you go. There's your rogue. And that's kind of how you describe. And then he was a rogue. I mean, obviously, and that's kind of, some of this stuff was kind of like, oh yeah, that's kind of really obvious. You can elaborate a lot more. I mean, it's almost like backgrounds, and that's the one thing I tell people is introducing your character. What you should do, and I didn't think about this. So what happened was that was kind of my fault. What we should do in Dungeon Masters, Game Masters, that was really good and incredibly helpful for a new player. I hope so. It was kind of short, sweet, and simple. And it was very basic. That was basic. It kind of goes with what I'm about to say. I think that from now on, I'm going to make the players, and I'm probably going to do it with all my games, have them on a separate sheet of paper describe their character without saying, but you're not allowed to say what you are as far as a class. You're only allowed to describe physically what they see. Now, yes, there are telltales. The guy shows up in all his robes. Cool beans. That's my next character. Yeah. But you can describe by what you're wearing. How you're wearing it is just as important as what you're wearing. I mean, I could carry twin swords as a rogue, hidden, or as a fighter, an elven fighter, I could put one on my back and put another one on my hip, right? Same character, just by the arrangement of the swords. That's really not a draw for a rogue. A rogue is going to draw his weapons usually somewhere where they're easy to draw and quick. A fighter might come in with a two-handed sword strapped across his back. But you know what? Just as easily, a wizard may come in with a two-handed sword strapped across his back. It may be something that just goes with his background that the DM allowed him to have. But he's in robes. He's wearing no armor. He just has a two-handed sword strapped across his back. I'm telling you this because I had a character like that. All right? I even had the little figure. It's a little cloaked. It's all in cloaks. You can kind of see his boots and kind of the front. And on the back, he's holding a two-handed sword. It's crazy and hilarious. But because I found that figure, I made a character that way. He was a wizard that carried a two-handed sword. He took his proficiency, his feat was martial weapons, so he could carry the two-handed sword. It was just a role-playing thing, but he could use it. But describe your character. If there's something cool that really stands out about your character, like piercing blue eyes, or a really dark complexion, or fiery red hair, use that. Make that the focus of your description. How you look. You don't ever want to say, yep, I'm a half-elf wizard, and I'm dressed in robes. It can be as simple as that, but you don't want to do that. You want to get into your character, and that's the first step is take a separate sheet of paper and write down, what the heck do I look like? Well, I'm about 6 foot tall, and I'm slim because I'm an elf. Okay, so I'm a little slim. I have long blonde hair, blue hair, red hair, orange hair. Remember, this is Dungeons and Dragons. Pick your favorite color, turn it into your haircut. Who cares what the book says? Does it matter that the wizard in the party is an elf with pink hair? No, it just looks cool. All right, so it's a description. So what color are my eyes? Hazel, green, bright blue, ice blue, sky blue, purple, amethyst. Maybe they're solid black. Maybe there's a condition that I was born with that my eyes are completely black. Wow, cool, right? There's a talking part. So there's a lot of things that you can do with your character to kind of set you aside. Yeah, I'm an elf. Okay, there's a billion elves, but there's only one of me. So what makes me me? And that's what you do with your description. Okay? And then now you have my physical appearance. Now let's talk about what I'm wearing. Am I wearing a hat? Am I not wearing a hat? Am I missing a little hair from too many adventures with first level characters? I don't know. Oh my gosh. But so my hair, is it short? Is it long? What color is it? Is it curled? Is it straight? Do I wear it in a ponytail? Do I have braids? Do my ears stick out of my hair? Can you see it with my hat on? There's all kinds of things that you can think about. What do I wear for clothes? Am I always wearing my leather armor? Do I wear a shirt? Is it colorful? Is it white? Is it black? Do I wear gloves, bracers, gauntlets? Do I wear armor? Is there a sword strapped on my back? A mace strapped? Am I carrying a mace? Is it on my belt? Do I have a shield? What's on my shield and blazing on my shield? Is it a wooden shield with metal bands? Is it a steel shield? You see what I'm getting at? Ooh, mimic. Oh, there you are. Welcome, Antonio. Yes, look at this guy. Huh? Now, is this the coolest or what? Welcome to the show, bud. Yeah, I was hoping you'd jump on there. I'll be able to jump on. So, and that's like when we describe monsters, DMs, game masters. Okay, so take this mimic, for instance. Now, the mimic would not have been like this, okay? The mimic would have looked like a chest. So I described a treasure room, and I said there's 3 chests. Now, one of them is a mimic, right? Well, you see 3 chests, blah, blah, blah. The rogue, of course, goes up there. Oh, I checked for traps, da, 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 da. Okay. He opens it. Ooh, gold, treasure, nice. The second one. Oh, same thing. The third one. Okay, you unlock it. You open it, and it attacks. Roll for initiative. because ta-da, and you describe it. You see 4 golden globes across the top and giant teeth reaching out for you and a tongue that slaps you upside your head for not checking better. But I know you get what I'm saying. I mean, so describe what the mimic looks like, you know? It's got a nice big purple and blue tongue, and it's just slavering, and there's drool coming out of his teeth. And his teeth are long and pointy and jagged and ready to just rend the flesh from your skin. Oh, my gosh. Oh, yeah, that's actually what happened in the D&D movie, right? And there's points of reference, too. So, like, if a mimic did attack your party, okay, you guys remember, have you seen the D&D movie? That's a mimic. That's the way a mimic attacks. Okay, so now you have a point of reference, all right? That's a great thing to do. Animation, all kinds of animation. The Lord of the Rings movies, any movie that they've watched where you can describe and use a point, a reference from something that they have seen, they can visualize, that brings the game even more to life. Okay, so, and that's all part of the role playing. Okay, that's not some kind of mysterious art that it's right there. If you have miniatures, it makes that life even better. Now that the Dungeons and Dragons movie has come out, you have so many more ways to sit there and go, do you remember in the movie this? What about this? Do you remember when this happened in the movie? Do you know when this happened in that animation? Remember this point when the goblins attack? That's what a horde of goblins looks like. So on and so forth. So that I think that about wraps it up for today. I think I went over everything that I wanted to talk about, kind of touched on it. I mean, there's a lot more that we could elaborate on and we could really get in deep. But I think that if you read what, you know, players in the Player's Handbook, Dungeon Masters, and the Dungeon Masters about role playing, Dungeon Masters Guide about role playing, that'll kind of give you a foundation that you can kind of go back to. You can go on the internet. I highly recommend Matt Mercer and the Critical Role group because they're amazing voice actors and his facials are really, really good. I did a little bit of describing here, but write it out. Write your character out. If it takes you a couple paragraphs, that's okay. You know, it's a game. There's no time limit. When you sit down to play D&D, you sit down to have a good time with your friends and family, to make new friends, to meet new people, and just interact, socially interact. So take your time, have fun, describe a character, make them as crazy as you want, you know, make them as simple as you want, make them shadowy and discreet and very kind of like quiet, or make them boisterous and loud like the gnome. Just come in there playing the lute. I mean, my gosh, what better way to say, hey, look, I'm a bard, than coming in and singing a song, right? Telling a story. You know, of course, the barbarian comes and slams the door open and comes in and just lets his whole physique and lets everybody know, hey, that's right, I'm here. What's up? And every once in a while, talk to a horse. Take the time to talk to the animals. You never know what you can learn. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the show. It's been a lot of fun. And don't forget to come by. This mimic is awesome. It looks good here. Wait till you see him in person. I mean, it's just like, and look, it's not, oh, wait, just in case. You never know. It might be trying to bait me. You never know with this guy. But isn't it the coolest thing? So anyway, there's a lot of cool stuff always coming in. They're doing a great job of bringing stuff in. Except, you know what? Sometimes things fly out of here faster than they can keep them in. And that's the truth. They order what they can get. It comes in, it's gone, and you come in, 3 weeks later going, and it's gone. And sometimes it takes a while to restock. So don't get mad at them. They always know. Thank you, love. It was a fun show. All right. So, and yes, the Dice Goblin shirt has come out. There it is. You can never have enough. No, you can't. And yes, the dice are. Thank you. Thank you all for coming. And for those of you who see it later, thanks for watching. But as always, may the road rise up to meet your feet. May all your adventures be successful. Look out for mimics. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next Friday right here at the Collective on John's Dungeon Corner. See you then. Bye.